Native Oklahoma is brought to you in part by Oklahoma Humanities Council, providing funding and resources that support lifelong learning and a vibrant cultural life for all Oklahomans.
Duty, honor, and service. These words carry meaning for all of us, but for Native veterans, they have an even deeper significance. Native Americans have the highest record of military service per capita of any ethnic group in the U.S. Historically, Native warriors fought to protect their families, their lands and villages, and their culture. Those warriors were prepared for battle and received back home with traditional ceremonies, many of which are still in place today. Modern Indian warriors aren't that much different. Military service always has been, and always will be, a large part of Native life. This program is dedicated to Vietnam veterans from all tribal nations. These are their stories from their tribes. We begin with Bacone College and a tribute to their Cherokee students who served with honor.
This is what Indian men do. This is our task in life, is to protect, to defend, to care for our families and our clans and our tribes. That's our job. I've got a flag at home. I rescued it from a thrift store. It was a veteran's burial flag. Don't know whose it was, but it deserves to be out in the air. We can do that. We'll take care of that.
After 3 tours, I'd completed 200 missions in Vietnam. I am a 3rd-generation combat veteran, and my son, who was a Marine in Desert Storm, makes a 4th generation being a combat veteran. There's a lot of tradition in our family as far as serving our country in a time of crisis.
Yeah-oh, hey, hey-oh, hey-oh. Yeah-oh, hey, hey-oh, hey-oh. Yeah-oh, hey, hey-oh.
This place was home, and it was always good coming home. When I joined the Army, my home of record was Bacone, and when we sat around the barracks at night talking about coming home, this is what I dreamed about coming back to.
That was my first exposure to indoor plumbing and water. I was on the lower level, and that was my room. It was the 3rd window from on the south wing of Walter Starr Hall. Bacone had a long history of people serving in the military, and they had Company I that was quite famous during World War II.
Growing up around, the story about Company I and knowing Jack Montgomery, yeah, that reinforced. Maybe we were just more Indian then than what we realized. It's like my oldest son. He's with 82nd Airborne now, and when he enlisted, he kind of shook his head and he goes, "Dad, this decision is your fault." I said, "What do you mean my fault?" He goes, "Well, you taught us about duty and honor and obligation." He said, "You fulfilled yours, now it's my turn."
My grandfather was a Civil War veteran with Stan Wadey. My father was a World War I veteran, a member of the 90th Division, 357th Infantry. and was wounded quite bad and led to his premature death when I was 1 year old. I was assigned to Heavy Attack Squadron 2, and we went to Vietnam, and my first mission in Vietnam was in November of 1966. After my second deployment, I transitioned to the A6 Intruder. I was a member of Attack Squadron 165. We went aboard the USS America, and I flew all three models of the A6, qualified, and flew combat, and our primary mission was attack.
It's like these guys from Company I. You know, they were all Baycombe students, the whole company, and they were all Indians.
Many of us have never been in a combat situation, and we've never encountered what so many young Indian men did in Vietnam. This next account sheds light on the war's emotional impact.
I pray daily, dear God, let me do the right thing. Let me make the right decisions. Because if I don't, a lot of people get hurt. I pray. In high school, in Anadarko, when you finished high school, unless you were a farm boy and from a farming family, and where you work on the farm, you went into the military. And a few of the rich guys went on to OU or OSU. But everybody you went to the one of the four services. The first landing we had, I was something called the SLF, Special Landing Force, helicopter carrier, made just for Marines. We were off the coast of Vietnam. This is going to be our first landing. I started thinking back in high school. I used to get, before a football game, you'd be in the down the dressing rooms. Think, gee whiz, we're playing Chickasha, a bigger school. We're playing Frederick, playing in Altus. Gosh, I'm worried. What's going to happen? Am I going to mess up? Am I going to really screw up out there? Hope I don't forget the plays. You worried about that? And I got on the hangar deck. I said, that's nothing. You better know the plays now. And you better be prepared. But once the helicopter sat down and I got my feet on the ground, everything just fell into place. The NVA wore their uniforms, but the VC are very, very few. They're scattered out. The NVA will come at you in regiments, divisions, into thousands. So I would rather deal with the NVA. They can send 100, 200, 300, 1,000, but you know what you got. With the VC, you don't know, because he's the rice farmer who can plant a mine at night or a booby trap and let one of your Marines trip it the next day and die and kill. He's killed there. Who was it? Well, it could have been that guy over there hoeing away. I had two good friends, two lieutenants, my platoon commanders. They were hit. And I get a call on the radio. The thing, like I said, things are going on, popping all over the place. Someone says, the Axel's been hit. Axel, I mean, that's the lieutenant. They said, this is the assist. That means that's his assistant, his platoon sergeant. He said, the Axel's been hit, but I got it. We're going over here. 2 or 3 hours later, things settled down there, and he said, the lieutenant was hit. How was he? He's dead. Here's a guy, talked with, probably drank with, and got drunk with, passed out with, buddies, know all about his family. You never got a chance to see him that last time. It was, Axel's been hit. He's gone. American Indians, probably we've got it easier than the white man. We come home to welcome powwows and dances, big giveaways in your honor, your pat on the back. You're a welcome hero. But had we continued, the country would not have fallen. It couldn't mirror our type of government, but they wouldn't be dominated by North Vietnam. My intentions were good, as most other people who went over there voluntarily went over there. Our intentions were good. So I think our intentions make good the effort. If you believe in something, go for it. And I thought we were winning. We were winning. It just didn't turn out that way.
Unlike servicemen and women of previous wars, Vietnam veterans returned home without any fanfare or parades, and in fact were treated harshly. This next story from the Osage tribe speaks to that issue and how their traditional ceremonies restored some much-needed balance.
I was proud to serve my country, but it was a hard time for most people back here. They were really against the war, and they didn't treat us like they treat the servicemen today, with honor. They spit on us, called us baby killers, and all kinds of derogatory things. But we served our country as best we could.
It was not a popular war. And when our veterans came back home, they came back to a country that was not receptive and did not really seem grateful.
You survive war. You don't go to war, play the game, and come home. You go to war, and in your mind, you're not going to come home in one piece, or you're not going to come home. You've dedicated your life to your country. You've dedicated your life to your tribe.
Indians had a very set way of life and things that you were expected to do, and service to your tribe was one of them.
Our country turned against the veteran. We couldn't come home in uniform. We didn't want nobody to know we were veterans because we were bad people. So we had to sneak around. I felt sorry for the non-Indian. You know, they were going back to whatever, I don't know. But I knew that when I got back, when I crossed that Arkansas River and I got in Osage County, I was home. I was treated good. When we got back on the reservation, and I was treated good. And they had a dance. When I left, had a dance when I come home. Most of your Native American tribes across the United States that I know and have been affiliated with over the years, they done that for their warriors.
When my brothers and my husband were going to Vietnam, our families had prayer ceremonies for them. And we would ask an elder, tribal elder, to come and fan them off, smoke the family off, and send them off with prayers and good wishes.
Parents are consistently spiritually talking to the Creator to make you come home again, you know. When you're in combat and your mom and dad sitting at home, they're thinking about you. It affects the whole world, it affects the United States. And we have to look at it that way. And when that person comes home, then we have to go get that person.
These songs were created for our warriors, our men, and they were brought to these families And along with that was a drum was brought to them. And when that individual came home from his tour of duty, and then this dance was held for him, that family put on that dance for him.
I'm really blessed to be able to dance and honor my family and other people who are part of the dance, part of the Elanchka. It's really helped me through my life. I haven't been part of it very long, but it's very precious to me. The friendships I've made out there, I'll take them to the grave with me. They're very important.
And so this has gone on for a long time, and I guess it's to me it's a reflection of how we always honored our warriors way back even in the beginning of time.
They honored me here last year at War Mothers for my service to our country, and it was a great honor to stand in line with so many men who have given their lives for this country and our way of life as Indians, Native Americans. I can't tell you how that humbled me so that day. I told the War Mothers, I thanked them with all my heart for letting me stand in that line of honored men who served our country.
Surviving a war changes a person. It's impossible to return from battle the same as you were before. Our final story from the Cheyenne and Arapaho tribes reveals how those raised in the Indian way were better prepared than most for Vietnam.
When I was a kid, they called me Mamkahe. That was my Cheyenne name. And when I came back from Vietnam, my family had a name-changing ceremony for me, and they changed my name to, how do you say it? Machidan, which means big man. And that was the name of one of my grandfathers. My first name was that of a child, see, but because of the fact that I've been to war, that's when I got the name, man's name.
When I was born, they named me Ifto, and the understanding that I have of it was that it means like hauling around. The literal meaning is hauling around, but the meaning that I understand is it's like a camp crier. After I went overseas, went to Vietnam, and when I came back, they had a dance for me, and they changed my name. And for each direction, they talked to the spirit and told them that my name will be changed, and that for all intents purposes, this is going to be his name from now on. And so that, you know, all four directions, they know that my name is Otkiwa Otana. That's crow necklace.
Alex Warden and Lucian twins both grew up in western Oklahoma, in Native communities where Native ceremonies were a way of life.
It just felt like something I was supposed to do, you know what I mean, growing up in that environment. I mean, and it was a lot of, you know, I can't, now I know it was a lot of patriotism, you know, and love of our people, love of our country, and like my uncles were, airborne infantry, you know, with the boots and the blue ribbon, and I mean, they're sharp, you know what I mean, and you know, and to go up there and to go to the dances and see my family, they supported a lot of that.
By 17, Alex had already graduated from Riverside Indian School and lied about his age to get a job. That little fib followed him around to the selective service, where he still let them believe he was 18. It was only after he enlisted that the truth came out.
The recruiter found out how old I was. You know what I mean? He said, we're going to have to get your parents to sign. And so my dad signed.
Lucian's father had been in the Navy and encouraged his son to join the Air Force. That was Lucian's plan as well.
So I went over there, but they were closed. I went to the Navy, they were closed. I went to the Army, they were closed. So the only one that was there that was open was the Marine Corps, so I said, okay, well, I'll go in the Marine Corps. And the majority of the people in Clinton, the Indian people that joined, they either joined the Marines or they joined the Airborne.
Serving in the infantry, Lucian saw his share of combat, but one battle sticks out in his mind. The night his group was ambushed high in the mountains.
Everybody was running to find cover, and we found a big old tree log. So we all jumped behind that, and they had a machine gun, and it was tearing up the log on the other side. And, there was explosions going off, and where I found that log, and I laid there, and next to me was my Indian friend. He was in a different platoon, but he ended up right beside me. We turned over and seen each other, and we said, "Hey!" We start shaking hands. And, how you doing? How's it? While the log was being torn up by a machine gun fire on the other side, and next to him was a non-Indian person, and we were talking and laughing and stuff, and we heard somebody crying.
It was a young Marine who'd been in country just a short while, and he was afraid to die.
We told him that, you've got to put your faith and trust into the Supreme Power. The Supreme Power, if he decides to take you, he's going to take you. But you need to make your peace with him. And you make your peace with him, you're going to be all right. And he will take you whenever your time is ready.
Alex Warden also confronted his mortality. He recalls the night he found himself surrounded by death.
They attacked us with rockets. And that's when I realized I wasn't training anymore. This was the real deal. I mean, because of the fact that the rockets they were firing at us were what they call 122s, and they were some big rockets, and make a lot of noise, and people died.
I thought of all the Cheyenne people as a whole, and I thought of the children, or the babies that's going to be born, the babies. And when I thought of that, they became a part of my prayer when I started praying then. That's who I would pray for. And also I would pray for the enemy. And the enemy that I prayed for was, I prayed for the ones that I may have to take their life.
Being raised in it, I didn't really, I took it for granted. I didn't really realize that was actually working, but coming back and being, like I say, surviving Vietnam myself, 2 tours, and seeing how it affected our people, you know what I mean? And I just, seeing the awesomeness of it. How do you get missed? How does a bomb go off? How do you not get hit? You know what I mean? It's not because I can turn invisible. You know what I mean? It's not because I'm bulletproof. It's just, now I realize it's the prayers that people prayed here. You know, it wasn't anything else other than that. To me, that's an attribute of our tribe that had nothing to do with me, you know, and I'm thankful that our people have the courage to carry those traditional praying values on.
This program barely taps into the wealth of stories from our Native American veterans. We want to recognize them and let them know their service and sacrifice is greatly appreciated. Thank you for joining us on this special episode of Native Oklahoma, and we'll see you next time.
Native Oklahoma is brought to you in part by Oklahoma Humanities Council, providing funding and resources that support lifelong learning and a vibrant cultural life for all Oklahomans.